Good morning, y'all. Welcome back to the Piney Woods homestead. You've got me today. Matthew's still out on a job, and he said to do a video. I'm not the videographer around here, if you couldn't tell, or the talker. He's the talker. But I thought I would just take you around real quick and show you the gardens, as well as what's going to be available for this coming Saturday when we open the farm store. And this video should come out Saturday morning, several hours before we're open, so if you see it then, you can kind of see what we're going to have. The gator is dead, so I've got all of my stuff in my cart. I've got to feed the pigs on the way down, so we'll get on down there. All right, y'all, I have not ran this camera since Matthew was sick and I was doing the videos for him, so hopefully this is decent. Hopefully it's even recording. But down here in the garden now, I'm gonna go through, flip the camera around, kind of show you how everything's looking and what we'll have at the market this Saturday. And the tomatoes have really started turning well. This is one of the boxcar wheelies. And they're doing pretty good. You can see this one that I kind of let go to a few more liters. They're a smaller, they're a good salad size tomato, bigger than a cherry, but there are still some good sized ones down in there. Still not impressed enough with them to grow them again next year, but they haven't been too bad. And there's a few more down here that are getting ripe. And then our lemon boys, they have produced so many tomatoes. You can see like the cluster on this one. But I've picked a good amount of yellow ones that will be ready for Saturday, and I've got to go through here and get picked this morning as well. And the German Johnsons were the very first ones to start turning. And there's some down there. And these two right here, I'm probably not going to wait any longer for. Those are the two biggest Kellogg's breakfast I have. And they're well over the size of my hand now, so they'll get a deeper, kind of this color all over. So I'm anxious to try those. And in one of the previous videos, I had talked about the blossom end rot mostly being in my red snappers. And the one thing with blossom end rot, if you do get it, and it's early in the season with your bottom fruit, the first fruit clusters you get, a lot of times it will grow on out of it. And you can see this one is perfectly fine. And I've been able to actually get quite a few of the red snappers for this weekend. And these are the Shelby paste tomatoes. And y'all, I have never seen any tomato type put on so many fruit. And these I'm keeping for our own home canning. So there won't be any, at least right now, any paste tomatoes. But I will definitely grow this variety again, and I highly recommend them. They're all uniform, they ripen evenly, you don't end up with the green shoulder up here. They're just really a pretty tomato, and there's very little juice in them, so they're going to be a great canning tomato. And this Saturday we will have, I'll be picking some of the just the regular average size jalapenos, and there will be some of the larger, this isn't the biggest ones, but some of the larger stuffing jalapenos as well. And they're a good all-purpose, but they're just such a big fruit that they make a great stuffer. And there will also be a lot of the bell peppers These have all turned out beautifully, even the touchdown that I wasn't impressed with last year. But the King Arthurs are just so pretty and just huge. These would be good for stuffing as well if you like stuffed peppers. And you can see, I can get down there to them, that some of my Hungarian, they're a Hungarian stuffing pepper, but we use them as just a bell pepper. And we found that unlike regular bell peppers, when you freeze them and you use them for cooking, they get a little soft. These really do hold up their texture. Right now, these are the only two. I have red and orange and yellow. So right now I only have 2 of the orange, but they'll be available for Saturday as well. Now the October beans, as of right now, we won't be selling any of those. We may later on, but you can see this is what you're wanting to look for. They're getting a little bit of bad spot on the tip because we've just had so much rain. You get it where you can see it. You can see the mottling is now on both sides. So these are ready to go. And our slick pick are looking really good. We'll have several of those for Saturday, as well as some saffron, and I'm not sure, these first ones I planted of the crookneck are about to play out, so if I have a chance today, I'm gonna pull those out and restart. And we do have a couple of Golden Delights that'll be ready to pick. And I think Matthew said in a video I have renamed them Golden Beauties because there's not so much down here, but in the raised beds they cross-pollinated with the Black Beauty zucchini, so it's gave them a little bit of a green streak here and there, but they still taste primarily like the Golden Delights. And the Golden Delights are not as nutty tasting as a regular zucchini. And Matthew's not a fan of zucchini, but he does love these. In one of the videos back when we were planting, I said these were 2 different types of dwarf sunflowers. One was a Mardi Gras, which was supposed to have been a burgundy kind of variety, and the other was just a standard yellow. Apparently my seeds, not from me, but my seeds were mispackaged, which is fine, but I was looking forward to the burgundy. But these are definitely the sunspot variety, and then the other variety that I ended up with are these right here, and they're really cute, but they're a little different looking than your regular sunflowers. And the other ones have gotten not as tall as a standard sunflower, but these are supposed to be 2 to 3 feet tall, and they're not far from being as tall as me. And all my zinnias, this was the Benaria Giant. They're just all different colors. You can see a little bit different textures. But I will have a few limited mixed arrangements, and they'll probably be a combination of the zinnias and sunflowers, and maybe some basil tucked in there too, just for some different texture. So I will be getting those put together tomorrow, and a lot of the things, aside from the tomatoes, I will be picking first thing Saturday morning, so they will be at peak freshness for if you're coming to market. Alright, I'm going to attempt to switch the camera to a little bit of hyper speed to take y'all along while I pick these tomatoes. And then we'll pick back up once I'm done, and I'll take you up and show you some of the things in the raised beds. Alright, Alright y'all, I'm back up at the raised beds. Show you our corn real quick. A few weeks ago it got laid down from a heavy storm, and it actually, every bit of it stood back up. This past Saturday, we had another storm and it laid it completely flat on the ground, except for a few along, you can see the tallest ones along the back side. And then Sunday, what wasn't all the way on the ground, we had another storm that pushed it on back. But you can see that they're not gonna get fully back upright at this point. But we had this happen a few years ago, and they did end up still producing not as big of an ear as, of course, if they were upright, but we are still getting some good ears in here. And the Tasty Bites melons have really taken off, especially the ones on this side, working their way across the trellis. This year they've really grown. I did my best to keep them on the trellis, but you can see they're vining down everywhere here, and as well as all through this raised bed. And in this raised bed I have some basil along the front, and then these are a strawberry blonde sunflower that luckily I did put here in the raised bed because the rest of them were planted around the corn, and about the only section that is still good and standing with those is along the one side that it didn't lay down. But these are a bunching variety of sunflowers, so what you have to do with them is when they first start to bloom, you pinch that center bloom out, and then it tells the plant to produce all these side shoots. So now I've got one here, and this one is not going to be far off from blooming, but they look like they're going to be an absolutely beautiful sunflower. And they're averaging, I counted on some of the bigger ones, they're averaging about 10 to 12 blooms per stem, so, or per stalk. So that's going to be a good amount of sunflowers. And we already have some, let's see if I can get in here to them, some Tasty Bites melons. And you can see that we're already starting to form some good Tasty Bites melons. There's a little one up there. And then there's a pretty good size one. Hopefully you can see that down in there. And we grew these last year and they were absolutely delicious. They're supposed to be about a 2 to 3 pound, but they did average a little bit bigger than that. So I will end up, as this one grows, I will end up making a sling for it. I just take strips of pantyhose and tie it to the trellis just to give it some support so it won't snap from the vine. And our Star of David okra is finally growing. All of our okra has been planted long enough to where we should be just overrun with it. But with the cool temps, they just have been really slow to go. But it won't be long now. And then this bed is bunching onions, spring onions. So I will be harvesting these for sale Saturday, as well as this is our jungle of, see, Black Beauty zucchini, the heirloom, and the Golden Delight. And where I was saying that I was renaming them Golden Beauty, you can see more on this one, that it's really crossed. But again, they're still delicious. So I've got some of those that will be ready for Saturday as well. And then we will have a good bit of Blue Lake bush beans. I'll be picking those I will probably pick those tomorrow morning, tomorrow evening late, because they will keep well and stay good and fresh. Alright y'all, thanks for hanging out with me as we went through the gardens. Hopefully I talked loud enough to where you could hear me. Matthew's usually off camera motioning for me to speak louder. And hopefully there's even video here so that I don't get fired from the video work for the 5,000th time, which honestly is probably fine that I'm fired because Matthew does a much better job. So hopefully what I've done is at least decent quality and you've enjoyed seeing what's going to be available at the farm market this Saturday here, as well as, you know, what else is coming along. And, you know, I've said some things aren't available now, some things aren't ready, and some things, you know, this is a dual purpose for us. It's supplying our food for the year to put up, as well as offering to you guys so that are local. So, you know, like with the October beans, you know, once we get our inventory put up that we need, if there's excess, we will have that available. And the butter peas as well as the butter beans are both just very far behind right now because of the weather we had. So eventually those will be ready. Same thing with the okra. And, you know, once I get all my tomatoes put up, I will be, you know, if there's excess paste tomatoes, I will offer those as well. But this Saturday we will also have our Rangers for sale, and we have done it a little different than what most people do. Most people sell whole birds. We've done them in cuts because, you know, we do what's for us as well, and we know most people don't want to cook a whole chicken, so we will have that. We will have the Rangers and the Sussex, and if Matthew gets a chance when he gets in this evening, I'll have him do a little snippet kind of showing y'all some of the cuts that will be there Saturday. But in the meantime, I'm gonna head on back to the garden. It's already blazing hot here. I've got to pick a few more things. But thanks for hanging out with me today. Y'all have a good day, a great week, and we'll see you on the next one.